Suppose you have this set of data on the number of hours slept last night, and you want to create a visual for this set of data. Because you have a relatively few number of data points, and they do not take a very large span of values, a dot plot would be a perfect display. To make a dot plot, you will start by making a horizontal axis. You're going to need to label your axis going from the minimum value in your data set, which in this case is 4, all the way up to the maximum value in your data set, which in this case is 9. Do not skip any values in between 4 and 9. Clearly label each value. Plan ahead so that you take up all the space available. Try to keep even spacing between your values. You also need to make sure you label what the axis represents so that anyone who comes in and looks at your display knows what your display is of. So I'm going to label this hours slept. That way, if someone does not see the raw data, they still know that this is going to be a picture of the number of hours that people have slept. To make the dot plot, you're going to use little small dots to represent each individual piece of data. Because we're going to make one dot for each piece of data, it makes sense that we would do this with a relatively small set of data. If you had 40 or 50 pieces of data, you have to make 40 or 50 individual dots. If you have 10 pieces of data, then you only have to make 10 dots. Each data value is going to become one dot. So I'm going to start with this 7, and I'm going to make one dot above the 7 on my horizontal axis, like so. Then I'm going to go on to the next piece of data. The next piece of data is a 6, so I will make a dot above 6. Just as I did above 7. I'm going to continue until I've made one dot for each piece of data. The next piece of data is a 5, then an 8, then a 4. Now you notice the next piece of data is a repeated value, a repeated 6. So I will just put another dot above the 6. Again, another repeat, another dot above the 7, back to the 6, and so on. As you get more used to making this type of display, you can make it fairly quickly. You don't want to go too fast in case you miss a piece of data, which would be very unfortunate. If you do, you can always just make sure that you count the number of dots you have, and it should match up with the number of individual pieces of data. For example, there are 21 pieces of data. That means I should have 21 dots. If I don't, I missed something somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And I have 21 dots, so therefore I've made my dot plot correctly. Now it's your turn. Try making a dot plot for this set of data, representing the number of siblings people have. Remember, start by making your horizontal axis. Search for the maximum and the minimum numbers in the data set. Here, the minimum is 0 and the maximum is 4. should have already found those and be starting to make your axes. If you didn't, start now. Start your axis at 0 and work your way up to 4, evenly spacing the marks. Label your axis. Now start putting on your dots. Start at the beginning and work your way slowly until you get to the end. Make one dot for each number. I think I made a mistake with my dot plot. Can you spot it? Try counting the number of pieces of data. I count 15. Do I have 15 dots? There's only 14 dots. There must be a missing piece of data. Can you tell me which one? Yep. I missed this 0. That's an easy fix. Just add it now. And that's a dot plot.